What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the NFC East Podcast. Today, joining me, we have Dan, the Eagles fan, and today we got Week 9 picks for everybody. First, before we get into that, we're going to do our Thursday Night Football recap a little briefly, and just a friendly reminder, the teams that are on bye this week, we have the Browns, the Jets, the Birds, so Dan, no preview this week, and then the Buccaneers. So far in games this season, I am now, including the Thursday night game, 74-45. I've done much better than this in the past. I am 13 now, 12 games. Well, I'm assuming he got Ravens as well. 13 games behind first place, Pete Prisco on the ESPN. Expert sort of money line pick accuracies. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to introduce the game, the odds, my pick with some quick reasoning, and then Dan here is going to respond with his take. We're going to go game by game, starting with the NFC East games, though, which means Giants 49ers, and then Seahawks Commanders, which is Sunday Night Football, and then Cowboys Cardinals, which is Monday Night Football. So before we get into picking those games, first, Dan, the Ravens, they destroyed the Dolphins 28-6, I believe it was,
Absolutely, Captain.
on Thursday
Indeed.
Night Football. Another bad game from Tua, another bad game from this Dolphins offense. They fired their GM.
hmm
Any thoughts? Was this more about the Ravens being back, or would you say this was just about the Dolphins being bad?
I think overall it was just about the Dolphins completely falling. Like at this point, I feel like they're trying to figure out who to blame for this kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've. I feel like McDaniel's has got this like bubble around him that he's never been the problem, that he's not the problem, he's not the issue. But it's like you have this dude like wearing Air Forces to professional football meetings, like press conferences, like after the game. Dude literally got what's it called, accused of smoking a jewel in the middle of a game and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's like there's things, right? And it's like, hey, everybody lives their life, but there's things that I feel like people were getting pointed at, but like no one's asking questions about the coach or what he's doing or what he's done so far. And also too, it's when are they, I guess, gonna start like accusing Tua? Because all I'm gonna say is, right, as an Eagles fan, if Hurts put up the performance that Tua has been for the past couple of weeks, he would be the number 32 quarterback in the league. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's always like, oh, it's Tua, oh, it's Tua. He's not, he's got it, yada yada yada. But it's like, I've had a couple concussions and I felt a little messed up afterwards. And now you're in the professional football league, in the NFL, with how many concussions you got, and it's like we're not. Didn't they say he was wearing some sort of pad that he has to wear for the next couple weeks or something like that, like on his dome, like this really tight fitted
Oh,
thing,
inside
right?
the helmet?
Yeah, like inside the helmet or something like
A
that to
couple
like help,
concussions.
like extra protection. I remember them saying that on the Amazon like live, like when they were talking about that, like he's got this protective padding thing
I didn't
now.
I didn't catch that part, but that would be really odd considering he didn't want to wear the Guardian cap.
Yes,
Because I guess he thought it would be too much of a joke if he was wearing it.
exactly.
I don't know what
So
his.
it's
I think he said he just wanted to be comfortable, but I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so it's like I heard that right as I was like literally I was just laying down and I heard that I had to go back and they said how he's wearing some form of extra protection padding, one layer on what's it called on his actual head and then the extra layer on his helmet. I'm like, bro, like what in that, like for you knowing that that's what you got to do, it's like you got to start really asking the questions of just the health
Yeah, the
of
big
your quarterback.
questions.
You know
Can
what I'm saying?
is are you
So
going to be okay at 50 years old?
yeah, exactly. So, like overall, like while the Ravens were dominant, I feel like it was a very easy get your mojo back game. While
Yeah,
the Dolphins, it was more like, yeah, guys, we're really jacked up here. Like,
yeah. They've got a ton of issues. It's not just Tua, but I definitely didn't like that contract when they gave it out to him. I thought it was a little generous considering his talent. I kind of viewed it the same way as the Brock Purdy contract, where I just thought it was the system, and I get there isn't always an easy replacement, but that's why you have bridge quarterbacks to take you from that 1 year in case you can't find the guy that offseason. There's always a bridge guy, and that bridge guy is not going to be too different from Tua. So I kind of agree. I didn't think the Ravens looked that great. I was expecting them to really like destroy the Dolphins, and on paper they did, but game was a little closer than I was hoping.
No,
All right,
100%.
so
Didn't it also second note, I just found this to be funny. I saw this on Instagram the other day. Did Amazon really give a free week of Prime due to the Dolphins doing so bad in that game?
to who?
I'm telling no, I think I saw something to all users or whatever the case was. It was something on Instagram. I gotta find this because this ish had me laughing.
The
What's it
they
called?
said the Dolphins looked so bad that they
It's like the
decided to.
Dolphins. We apologize for the Dolphins being so horrendous that, bro, they gave like away like a free week of Prime or something like that. Bro, I gotta find that again. Hold up. But no, let's get going before let's keep it going. But
All right, we'll keep it going, but if you find it, feel free to jump in. I'm gonna introduce the Giants 49ers game as the first NFC East game that we're gonna go over today. This one's not on prime time like the other ones. It's going to be at MetLife. The 49ers are 2.5 point favorites. The over under
I
is
found
48 and a half.
it.
Do you
I
find
found
it?
the chat. I found the chat. A free week of Prime. We are aware of the disappointment in being forced to watch the Miami Dolphins play football via our platform, Hours of Dolphins Football. We're offering NFL fans who tuned in a free week of Prime Video. We sincerely apologize and hope that teams are able to score a touchdown next Thursday night. Thank you for the attention to this matter, Amazon. So,
That is, it's just embarrassing. I mean, the Dolphins. I mean, there's been worse teams. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's just the fact that their expectations are so much higher than the other terrible teams that it's like it's almost like the Giants in the way they get hyped sometimes and it just collapses and it's like everyone sees this coming. But anyway, speaking of the Giants, I'll say it again. They are at MetLife, so they're home. The Niners are 2.5 point favorites. The over under is 48 and a half. And this game has tons of injuries on both sides. The 49ers, they don't even have Bryce Huff anymore. And then for the Giants, missing Adebo and Cordell Flott on the defensive side, that's not good at all. And tons of other guys as well, like Holland. So for the EPA stats, just to kind of break down who these teams are, the Giants offensively are 23rd in EPA, and defensively they're 26th. So not very good at either one of them. But the 49ers, it's kind of the same. 49ers are 20th in offensive EPA and 21st in defensive EPA. Now, considering how, at least on the 49ers offense, they've gone through a lot of quarterback changes, and the Giants have too with Russ and Jackson Dart. Some of those, EPA numbers, you could break them up depending on which quarterback you want to look at. And then for the defense, the Giants defense suffering a lot of injuries, Niners defense suffering a ton of injuries over the past month or so. In this game, it's going to be really hard to tell what's going to happen. The Giants could either fall flat on their face after that Cam Scadaboo injury, and it's a bit intangible, but I really do think that's what this game is going to be about, is what does this football team have without Scadaboo from an energy standpoint. And I think they're going to be fired up for at least this game. I think maybe 2-3 games into not having Scadaboo, 2 losses, it might get old. That's when you might see the players start to quit and whatnot. But I think at least for this game, they're going to want to win it for him. And who knows what happens after that. But I've got a good feeling about the Giants. I mean, we saw the Niners run out of gas last week against the Texans. And at least our pass rush is still going to be there. So we can be glad for that. And I'm going to take the Giants to win this game, 26-23. And just a really weird game. That is going to be the over on 48 and a half. And that's going to be Giants plus 2.5. So I'll repeat again, Giants 26-23. Dan, what do you think about this game?
overall, I can't lie to you. I do agree with you fully on the sense that the Giants are definitely going to come out fired up this game. I think Scadaboo being out is going to send a different kind of message, and I believe he'll be on the sideline. I think this week,
I think.
if I remember correctly. So it's that energy that he's probably going to have. I expect out of all people to have a game, probably Tyron Tracy. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see Dart throwing it a whole. What's it called? Not a Giants receiver might not blow up this week, but I just feel like the run game is gonna want to get really defined this week. So definitely I would have Tyron Tracy for over whatever FanDuel or DraftKings got on their spread for his rushing yards. But overall, I see the Giants score. I also see it being like a really big defensive game, if I'm gonna be honest too, because I think both teams defensively could go and like go toe to toe with the offenses. It's kind of just showing like who showed up more on offense. So I will take the Giants as well, but I'll take the Giants 20-17.
2017. All right, so you're taking the under on this one, and I could see that too. I don't really know which way it's gonna occur, whether it's gonna be, some defensive slugfest, or some offensive shootout, because at least in the Giants season we've seen both in the same game occur. So it's like there's no telling what's gonna happen. But I do feel I haven't heard a lot of confidence from other people that the Giants are gonna win this game. And I don't feel like it's like the Eagles game at all, where you're kind of reaching and using wishful thinking for it. I think there's a real chance the Giants win this game. This Niners team is beat up, and they kind of got exposed last week. So that's my thought and Danny's thoughts on the Giants 49ers game. Let's move on to Sunday Night Football. Seahawks at Commanders. Jaden Daniels is back. He is back. But Terry McLaurin is out. So they just can't get the whole band together for more than like 2 or 3 games this season. That's no fun. In this game, the Seahawks are favored by 3.5 points, and there's an over-under of 46.5. So, in this game, to describe the teams, and now this is another situation where the Commanders have been without Jaden Daniels a couple weeks, but offensively, their EPA numbers are 18th. So that's actually not bad considering they've been missing their quarterback here and there. Defensively, the Commanders are 24th, much worse, much worse. Especially considering you can't really blame it all on one injury for the defense. But Seattle, really well balanced team. Offensively, 17th in EPA, and defensively 10th. I thought they'd be a little higher than 10th, but there's a lot of great defenses this year. But either way, this is going to be a very interesting game. For me, Jaden Daniels is back. I don't necessarily think that's the best thing even for the Commanders, to be honest, because who knows if he's been rushed back. I mean, that way he got tackled to suffer that hamstring injury was really funky. I thought he was more seriously injured, and I don't know. This is the second injury he suffered this year. He's coming back after only a week. I'm like, the Seahawks defense is pretty ferocious, and the Commanders' offensive line isn't terrible. But I don't know without Terry McLaurin if they're going to be able to open up the playbook enough to kind of avoid this pass rush. Even though that is what Jaden Daniels is supposed to excel at, I think this Seahawks defense has the talent to kind of, contain, what they like to do, spreading you out and using the run game and the screen game. I just don't know. I don't believe that the Commanders are going to have it without Terry, to be honest, is the big thing for me. So I'm going to take the Seahawks in this game. 24-17. So that's Seahawks minus 3.5 to cover the spread, and that is under 46.5. So projecting a bit of a decent game for the Commanders defense, but offense is going to struggle. That's kind of the way I see it. Dan, what are your thoughts on this game?
Overall thoughts. This is what I've seen from Marshawn Lattimore overall against George Pickens. Seeing the way that he was able to just absolutely get bodied, you know what I mean? But I also think it was like a more of a mental game as well. I don't think JSN is much of a shit talker as George Pickens, but I do believe that the skill set that JSN has is better than George Pickens, and for him to be the exclusive number one, and Cup being the two, and what's it called? This Seahawks defense is gonna be like thriving, I feel like, overall. So I do being a high see it being like a more of a high scoring game, even though Scary Terry's out on Halloween weekend, which is a pretty big tragedy.
Yeah, right. I didn't even. Think about
it's
that.
kind of
That
ass,
sucks.
bro. I'm not even gonna bullshit you. Like that's kind of sad, but but overall too, I also think that Daniels being in is going to allow them to be high scoring. But my fear with this, where how he's forcing it right now, is that these injuries that should be fully healed before he comes back are just going to keep lingering, but allowing himself to still keep getting hit and hurt the way that he is, it's not going to be like, oh, you need a couple weeks. It's like this is gonna be things that sting you for the rest of your career, kind of thing, because you're trying to play hero ball.
Yeah.
You're trying to save the season. You're trying to bring your team back. So I think for me, the score is gonna be 30-20. I
Okay.
see it being over the what's it called over
Mm-hmm.
the over for this game, but I also think that the Commanders are gonna have like a bit of a rough time trying to get the mojo back, losing their number one, going straight to Debo and Ertz and what's it called, Luke McCaffrey. So and hopefully, I'm not sure if Krosky Merritt's gonna have a game this week personally, but because I'm not sure that I think the Seahawks run defense is pretty nice from what I
I
remember.
think it's nice. I think they're better against the pass.
I agree. I agree. But yeah. So yeah, 30-20
I got a
Seahawks.
question. So about the 30-20, I'm not going to do this with every game, but this is a NFC East game, so I'll ask you. Do you think it's going to be 23-20 and then the Seahawks score and they kind of shut the door? Or do you think it's going to be 30-13 and then the Commanders score a garbage time touchdown?
I think 30-13 the Commander scored garbage time touchdown, personally. That's
So
why I don't think it like I don't think in the situation that they're gonna be in that it's gonna be like, oh, it's such a close game. I think they're gonna try to find their mojo while the Seahawks already have what they need and they already know who they are.
right.
So they're gonna be able to get ahead while the Commanders are still figuring it out.
Yeah. Hey, crazy things happen on Sunday Night Football, though. So
It
we'll
does
we'll
though.
just
It
have to
does.
see. So far, we agree 100%. Let's see if we agree on this one. Monday Night Football: Dallas Cowboys at Arizona Cardinals. The Cowboys are 2.5 point favorites, and in this game, the over under. Dan, can you guess this over under for me?
The over under, is it like over 50?
Oh, it's over 50.
God, over
It's
60?
no, but it's got a half in there. It's 50 something and a
50,
half.
55 and a half?
Close.
We're at 58 and a half? Or
No,
no,
no, no.
50, 52 and a half?
No, you got it right. 54 and a half. That is, I think, the second biggest spread I've seen this season. And for good reason. This Cowboys defense is terrible. And so far, pretty much everyone is able to put up like 24 to 27 points on them every single week. And the flip side of that is this Cowboys offense is top three in the NFL. Now the Cardinals, here, and let me hit you with the EPA stats. So offensively, Dallas is fifth in EPA,
Yep.
and defensively, they are 31st. Now the Cardinals are 19th in offensive EPA, but 20th in defensive EPA. So this is a very interesting matchup when it comes to team structure. You talk about being a balanced football team, having an offense and a defense. You can't pay everyone, so there's some trade-offs, right? Can't really have the most elite offense and defense in the NFL. So you would really hope it's more like 10th in offensive EPA and 10th in defensive EPA. This Cardinals team is about 20th in both. Now, the Cowboys have, 5th for offense and 31st for defense, so it's pretty clear who they are. And
Mhm.
in this game, Monday Night Football, I just feel like, Kyler coming back from this injury, it's very similar to the Jaden Daniels thing where I'm not sure what he's going to look like. Every year he comes off an injury and looks worse than he did before. And I know it sounds kind of obvious, but there's players who come back and they're just fine. Kyler's not
Mhm.
one of those guys. Every year, this is like my main excuse for him is that either, oh, DeAndre Hopkins, goes down or Kyler goes down and he comes back and he's not the same. That's looking like that's probably what this is going to be. Fortunately for him, he's playing this Cowboys defense. So I just don't know when it comes to the chemistry between him and Marv. Like that's gonna be huge. But Michael Wilson too he's a solid wide receiver too. I think the Cardinals will score points in this game. Ultimately, though, I think the Cowboys' ability to run the ball. I think the fact that they got Clayton Adams, the Cardinals' former offensive line coach and run game
Mhm.
coordinator, that really helped them move the ball with James Conner. And now the Cardinals don't have him. I think that's going to be a big reason the Cowboys will win this one. And I'm picking 31-30 Cowboys. So that is Cardinals plus 2.5. I am hedging slightly here, but that is definitely over 54.5. I think the only way that doesn't hit is if somehow I feel like the Cardinals have to score at least like 20 something. So it would have to be if the Cowboys just somehow get shut out, which I don't see happening. So that's my take. Dallas 31-30. Dan, what are your thoughts?
So this might be the first time we ever disagree in this one. So personally, and the reason why I disagree is because what I remember seeing from Kyler Murray is that for some reason his stats against the Cowboys, and they're playing at AT&T, from if I'm correct.
They're at Arizona.
They're at Arizona. Okay, it still don't matter because when they played Dallas for some reason, Kyler's numbers have been so high on this Cowboys team that for some reason I'm expecting Marv to go off. I'm expecting some form of build up together. And of course, Joey's going to sit here and be like, everybody has their best week against the Cowboys. But it's like Kyler statistically always has a game against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So
He's two. He's
for the
two.
first time,
I'll add for you. He's two.
yeah,
He's 2-0 against them. They played in 2020 and 2022 when the defense was much better than it is now.
yep.
He threw 2 touchdown passes in both of those games, and he's got a passer rating of 100.9 between those 2 games. So you are correct. He plays very well against the Cowboys.
So for some reason, right, even though he might have the injuries and everything, I genuinely feel as if Kyler in this situation is going to be one of those moments where ESPN, all these sports analysts are going to see him ball and everyone's going to try to glaze him. So that's why I see this game going 30-27
Okay.
as well. But Arizona. And it's just going to be one of those matchups that it's like Kyler's like, I feel like it's going to be like 2-minute offense. Kyler's going to rush down the field, waste all this clock, and then they're going to be able to get the last second field goal against the Cowboys. And then we're going to be back here on Monday or Tuesday talking about, oh, well, it's the Cowboys. But
Yeah, it's something that I think is going to be a really, really big moment for Kyler and honestly his whole career. Things are in heavy flux right now for Kyler Murray, and a big reason why is because of him having the injuries every year and us not quite seeing the potential. But you described how, this is always a get right game for him. I think if he does get right, you're correct that people are going to show up on primetime or on the talk shows, and they're going to say all these great things about him, like they've always said he's like this top 10 talent or something like that. But if he loses this game, even if he performs well, I think there's a good chance people are going to start calling for his job. And to be honest, I get more and more confused every week with what the problem is in Arizona because I thought Gannon was a good coach, but they blow games late. And then I thought the defense was good. They're 20th in EPA. Offensively, they had a ton of talent. They're 19th in EPA. This is I've heard some people describe them as like the best 2-5 football team they've seen in a long time. I think it's true, but you gotta win at some point. So I think if he doesn't win, he's gonna get heavily criticized. And I definitely think they got a chance. That's why I took Cardinals plus 2.5. So I don't fully disagree with you, but I just think Dallas with their run game is gonna be able to control the end of the game a little bit more.
fully sure, and of course, being an seeing an ex-Eagle like Josh Sweat on that team, of course, I'm gonna be paying really close attention to seeing the pressure that they get on Dak and um players like Buda Baker and Josh Sweat. It really upsets me because it's like those dudes are, I feel like, still slightly in their prime, but with this team and how they're being led, and I'm not even gonna blame Kyler. I'll probably blame Gannon, and you can call me a salty Eagles fan for that Super Bowl, but I feel as if back then when Gannon put his hands on his own player
Yeah,
mid game like that, it kind of shows the kind of, I guess, tier list type of build of a team rather than being one cohesive unit. It really showed that it's I'm sorry, I've never seen that beforehand. And I know
yeah,
I've
it was
seen
pretty
many,
crazy.
yeah, I've seen many talk show hosts talk about oh my God, you just put your hand on another grown man. It's yeah, this isn't like when we were in college or we were in high school and you're just acting out and your coach grabs your face mask and he's like, get your shit locked
Get
in.
a
It's
grip.
no, it's yeah, get a grip, get it locked in. It's no, these are all, you guys are basically all almost the same age.
Right.
and you're getting this hype about it, and it's like, like your head coach. While of course I'm not really one to talk being an Eagles fan, but should be the calmest and also most like locked in person like in the John. You know what I mean? And it's like you're gonna get emotion, you're gonna get hype, but once it gets to a certain level, it's like you're not feeling that same way. You know what I mean?
I
So
can't.
like
I
it's not
can't.
it's not it's
I
yeah,
was.
you're not really gonna work out so well. So that's why personally I've been blaming Gannon, and that's why I feel like if you go get to another coach, because Cliff Kingsbury, bro, he was cooking with him.
Yeah.
He had like a really long undefeated season with him,
Un-
and until D Hop got hurt, and then stuff started really falling apart. But that's why, hey, I see Gannon the problem, and Gannon needs to go. He needs to figure it out somewhere else. But hey, that's just me.
yeah. And I feel like the defense should be a lot better. So I do partially. I do put a lot of the blame on Gannon at this point. But it's time to move on. Unfortunately, we've spent enough time talking about our NFC East games, and now it's time to get into the rest of the games in Week 9. So, man, I can't get this lighting right, man. You see, the whole left side of my face is like bleached white.
Literally, I always got these Jones presetted just in case,
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
could like back up, but you see that little dashing spot of sunlight
yeah,
right
that's
there. It's like here maybe if I block it up a little bit. Oh no, I'm standing right over here. All right, time to get back into these games. Up next is a divisional matchup between the Vikings and the Lions. The Lions, 8.5-point favorites with an over/under of 48.5. So, to break down who these teams are, the Lions offensively are 4th in EPA. Defensively, they are 2nd. You wouldn't expect that they are higher in EPA on defense, but they rank higher. So that is looking like the best team in the NFL on paper. And then the
for sure.
Vikings are 28th in offensive EPA and 11th in defensive EPA. So they've been really bad struggling on offense with the quarterback situation, but the defense has had their moments, but they looked very bad versus the Chargers, and they kind of choked versus the Eagles, in my opinion, when it came to A.J. Brown, especially in that fourth quarter. Even I knew he was going to run a double move there, but that's besides the point. So in this game, I think it's pretty clear that the Lions should be favored to win. But how do we think that's going to happen? I think Gibbs, he tears him up every single time he plays him. Amon-Ra is going to do his thing. We're going to see Jared Goff dialed as he starts to get, halfway through the season. And it's just a better football team, mostly when it comes to talent. The coaching staffs are pretty similar, but I just think they're not going to have the bodies in Minnesota to match up against this Lions team and actually execute whatever game plan they have to stop them. So I'm going to take the Lions to win 31-18. Dan, what's your pick for this game?
For me, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now JJ McCarthy's back, and his numbers were absolutely horrible through week 2. So, not even just to glaze him or get be down on him. I just feel as if that again he might have been rushed in. I feel like he hasn't had the experience around him.
Mm-hmm.
Which, mind you, Sam Darnold was there last year, and hey, man, like I don't know if he just didn't pick up the lessons or whatever,
One fair
but
point about McCarthy is the O-line wasn't really too healthy in the games he played, and Addison was suspended. So it's almost was all there. But he's still got a good offense even without that. But just to be clear.
yeah, no, I get that. What's it called? But I know you still have like Jones, Hawkinson, and Jefferson. So it's like, if you can't make it work with Jefferson, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You and I
come
both
on.
agree. He is absolutely
He's the best.
like we've never seen a receiver like this in a long time. Or
Well,
like
he's
maybe
breaking
not ever.
every record there is. He's on like a Jerry Rice career path, and he's never had a franchise quarterback. It's D-Hop on a whole nother level.
Literally. So for me, if McCarthy in this game does not figure it out, of course it raises question. But in terms of score, I'm not gonna lie. I think Lions are coming here to make a statement, and I'm gonna go 30-10.
30-10. Wow, so you really have no
I have the
faith.
Lions absolutely steamrolling them. Like,
Well, I really don't blame you. I have it just a little bit closer because I do think I do think the Lions have some defensive injuries in the secondary, and I think even if McCarthy sucks, then they'll be able to walk into some touchdowns just because Jefferson will get them down the field, or they'll kick enough field goals. But hey, you said 30-10?
I go 30-10.
All right, 30-10 is Dan's take. And of course, you picked Detroit. Okay, up next, we got the Panthers and we got the Packers. It's in Green Bay in this game. It's going to be a blowout is what they're saying. Packers minus 13.5 favorites. And the over-under, 44.5. Not a lot of faith for Andy Dalton's led Panthers.
I forgot it was him. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought it was Bryce Young, but we got Andy Dalton, baby.
That's right. I don't even know if Bryce has potential to come back this week. I'm pretty sure he suffered a high ankle sprain, so that should be like 3 or 4 weeks. In this game, though, to break down who these teams are, Packers offensively second in EPA, very good, but defensively they're 15th, so underperforming compared to what we know they're capable of. But the Panthers are kind of like the Giants, 25th in offensive EPA and 23rd in defensive EPA. So it's not like a team that really has any strengths, but they don't have like a glaring weakness. You know, they got weaknesses. It's everything, but it's not a glaring weakness. So if they can show up and they can execute the game plan, it's on the players to get it done. They didn't get it done versus the Bills last week. Maybe they can get it done versus this Packers team. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think the Packers are going to win this game 31-14. So that's even an alternate spread, because in that case, I'm taking them by 17 points. So that would be minus 16.5. Am I suggesting that? No. Don't gamble anything you can't afford to lose. It's a dangerous thing. But if you wish to gamble responsibly, then please do so. And for the over-under, that is over by 1 point, by half a point, because that would add up to 45. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on the Packers taking on the Panthers at home?
Mind you, right, but this is probably going to be the game that every analyst and every person is going to use to be like, do you see how this Packers defense is so unstoppable? They absolutely swept the Panthers. But we got to realize it's Andy Dalton's led Panthers, bro. So, yes. Do I see it being a blowout? Yes. Do I see the Packers absolutely decimating and cooking them? 100%. But I'm still not going to buy in yet until I see, again, the Eagles play them.
If the Eagles played this Panthers team, I wouldn't care.
You know what I'm saying? You would not give a shit. If I told you we played and we won like 30-3, and I came to you about that, you would say it's the Panthers. Like,
so
the Bills did it.
Conversely, if the Packers don't cover, how are you going to feel?
Oh, the Packers don't cover. It just proves my point even stronger, that it's like, how did this team, mind you, right? It's like this Andy Dalton team, it was put together within a week and some change to be able to come out and play the Bills. You know what I mean? That's like you're coming out to play like a playoff team who went to the AFC Championship last year. So it's like the expectations for me were not high on them. Now it's like this is now a contender for like deep in the playoffs, a deep playoff contender Packers team is going against a now experienced, practiced, and developed Panthers team now going to week 2. How do you match up? You should still be able to blow them out.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you don't, it kind of shows you the question, like, was that Bengals game also defining, hey, how good you guys are? Was this game now really showing what the hell are we doing?
If they don't cover, do you think it'll be because the Packers defense blows it, or do you think the offense is going to underperform?
I think it depends on the score, you know. If it's like, if they don't cover the spread, of course I could blame the offense, because in reality it's like the defense does its job, but at the same time also like the Panthers offense should be getting poor field positioning. They should be able to make plays, especially like if they should be sacking the quarterback maybe every other freaking play, if not at least once or twice a drive. Like, and hey, listen, Michael Parsons was known for at least getting a couple strip sacks.
Yeah.
Or being able to push the ball out. And if you're telling me you
The
can't make those
Bills,
big
they did
plays.
it last week versus Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton was very bad in that
Mm-hmm.
game, and I expect such things to continue. So, personally, I agree. If the Packers don't blow them out here, this isn't like the Cardinals team that had their Pastronaut moment with Brissett. This is a bad team with a backup quarterback. You should blow out the Carolina Panthers here.
So as far
Alrighty.
as my wait, did I put my score in?
You said 30. No, you didn't. What's your score prediction?
So my score prediction for this would probably be, in reality, it should be 33-7, and that 7 is a garbage time touchdown where they
Okay.
put Malik Willis in, and they just don't care anymore.
Okay. You said that's what it should be. Is that what you're predicting?
That's what my prediction is.
All
Yeah.
right, so 33-7. Dan is going minus 20 25 and a half on this one. You heard it here first.
They should.
No,
Yeah, I'm telling you, they should. That should
that's
be.
not
If the
even a
score
bad
is
bet.
not like that,
Yeah.
if the score is not like that, and it's so much closer, we gotta start talking.
Yeah. It should be a 3-score victory. I definitely agree with that. All right. Moving on to the next game. We got the Rams at the New Orleans Saints. Another game that's projected to be a blowout. Rams minus 14 and a half or minus 14 over under 43 and a half. I think we know what this is. Saints EPA for offense 29th. Defensive EPA 19th, not as bad. But the Rams, one of the most balanced teams in the league, 11th in offensive EPA and 3rd in defensive EPA. We're going to see the actual debut of Tyler Shuck in this game. He is the quarterback they drafted in the second round, who's been backing up Spencer Rattler so far. Rattler, on that really short leash, got benched after, pretty bad game versus the Bucs and a bad game the week before. So Shuck is going to have his first week of preparing to be the starter. And in this one, he's going up against Sean McVay's Los Angeles Rams. You would kind of hope that it would be like the Panthers you play for your rookie debut. The Saints don't really have that luxury. And despite the fact that we've got this nice story with rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck getting his first start, I don't see this being a great game. I don't see it being a close game, and I see Shuck getting beat up out there, confused, turning the ball over against this Rams defense and the pass rush that's so ferocious. I'm gonna take the Rams to win 28-13, so they will cover that 14-point spread, and the over under will not hit, as this is only going to add up to 41. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on Rams minus 14 and the over under 43.5 for Rams Saints?
For me, the Rams always have at least one game a year that they just play so weirdly off and so like underperformed, but it's because they go into the game thinking they're gonna absolutely just decimate, go off, and know what they need to do. But and Alvin Kamara, I'm not gonna say it's this game yet, but Alvin Kamara always just has his 4 touchdown game in a season. So what I'm looking at this game is more of a Rams don't play up to their potential. They play lower to the competition. I see this being a closer game. Do I think Shuck's gonna be the one to like dice it up and cook? Maybe, maybe not. Personally, my fear is I guess that this line does not hold up the way they need to, and he gets hurt, or Kamara is used more in this offense than he has been the past couple weeks. I think Kellen Moore is trying to, I guess, figure out what works because there's so many variable pieces right now
And it sucks
that
when a lot of it doesn't. Or like
you know what I'm saying.
you don't execute it properly, so you're like, well, we don't really know if it doesn't work, so we didn't do it right.
Exactly. So in this game though, one thing I do think is put together well is the defense. So
For the Rams,
I think for the Saints, the Saints defense is still pretty like
it's okay. I mean,
decent.
it's 19th in EPA with a really bad offense, which is better than the Giants' defensive EPA. So, hey, what can I say? I mean,
So for me,
it's got potential.
yeah. So I see it being a shock. I see it being a couple field goals going back and forth. Maybe I would say like 12-6 probably, and then the Rams finally score, making it around 19, and then
And then
hitting
maybe they
another
go for
field goal. So
two.
I could probably see like 20, like 22, 23 to 13.
Okay, so 23 to 13.
23-13 Rams.
23-13 Rams. I like the way you kind of explained how you thought we were going to get to that score. Because I think it highlights that not all blowouts are created equal. I asked you a similar question earlier. Do you think it'll be garbage time, or do you think the other team shuts the door? I think
Uh-huh.
we all enjoy watching teams shut the door more than we enjoy watching garbage time touchdowns
Garbage
in
touchdowns,
garbage time
100%.
games. So yeah, I hope this is what happens. I would like to see Tyler Shuck do okay. He's gotten a ton of hate coming out of the draft for really no particular reason. Mixed in with the Shador Sanders stuff. People are like, "Oh, you took him over Shador Sanders," and Shador's talented, but clearly this guy's got talent too, and he's got some awkward moments. To me, he really reminds me of Daniel Jones, because of that awkwardness, and
Yeah.
that means I'm rooting for him because he's got everything else he needs, size and talent. So hopefully, in his first game versus the Rams, he doesn't get beat up too badly. All right. Moving on to our next game, we got Broncos at Texans, the defensive showdown of this season so far. We have the Texans offensive EPA 16th, defensive EPA first. So they are very much we have a great defense, but our offense is just literally average. We have an average offense. And the offense, the way it is average, is it's not like they score like 21 points a week. They either have a horrible game or they have a really good game. It just depends on if their line can pick up stunts up front. That's literally what it is. Because if Stroud can hang in there like he has the past few weeks, we could see what this offense can do. And that was even without Nico Collins last week.
Mm-hmm.
So the Broncos are 8th in offensive EPA. So they're top 10. They are way better offensively than the Texans are on the EPA number. But defensively, they're 5th. So they aren't quite as elite on defense from a production standpoint and adding value to the team as the Texans are. So it's pretty clear that this is a defensive showdown. The Broncos are the more well-balanced team. So you might think that they're probably the ones who are going to win. And that's normally what I would tell you. But I've just got this sensation about this Texans team. I mean, the Broncos are favored -1.5. We see the over-under the over-under at 39.5. And it tells you that, even Vegas thinks this is going to be a low-scoring defensive game. And I think if the Broncos offense is going to struggle, I think they're going to end up losing this game. Because in that sort of defensive struggle fest, that's been the Texans' entire season. Okay, so they've been in these game situations for 2 months in a row. Whereas with the Broncos, that low scoring game against the Jets was intentional. Like they weren't really doing anything risky. They just let the Jets beat themselves. And the Broncos offense has been very week to week. It was shut out for 3 quarters against the Giants, and then the Giants defense just disintegrates. And then against the Cowboys, like everyone lights it up against them. Other than those 2 games, we haven't really seen much from this Broncos offense. So I just think they're going to struggle. I think this Texans defense is really awesome. I think the Broncos don't have the weapons to win one-on-one against like these corners. And, the offensive line is normally an advantage for them, but this is like one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. So I think this is going to be a Texans defense appreciation game. Give me the Texans to win 18-17. That's under 39.5, and that is Texans +1.5. Dan, what are your thoughts on this defensive showdown?
Oh man, listen. So one thing I feel like we forgot to mention, Pastor Tain is out this game.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing this game. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have Nico Collins. We're gonna have what was it? Who's the other dude's
Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel.
Yes, yes. And Dalton Schultz
Mm-hmm.
with and personally
Woody
I don't
Marks.
and Woody Marks.
Don't forget Woody Marks.
So for me, watching this Texans team going into this game, I'm more looking for and what I could see happening is more of what's the defensive production looking like. It's more for me, which quarterback is going to play to kind of show up. And for me, I see this being a big Nico Collins game. He hasn't had one yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a statement game yet. Sertan being out is going to allow to open the door for
Him to
the
do that.
receivers to have more play, more opportunity. It shows that they're willing to grow, and now they're gonna kind of show like, hey, are you still that guy kind of game? So give me the Texans 24-14.
Wow. So you have a pretty decisive win for the Texans here. I think it's definitely possible. I think it could be like that either way, but I think you were right to bring up the fact that Sertan is out because that's really the most important variable in this whole game is that the reigning defensive player of the year is not returning to the best defense in football. I think the Texans have the best defense in football. I mean, just seeing what they do every week, and I'm glad we agree on this. I do think Stroud is the better quarterback, if that's what you were trying to say, and he's gonna be able to. He has more wide receiver talent to kind of get it done with his arm. So that's enough for that game. Moving on to the next one, we have Bills at Chiefs. So this is the game of the week. I mean, this is every year. This is like the people's regular season Super Bowl. Chiefs -1.5, over under 52.5. Listen to these EPA stats. Bills are 4th in offensive EPA, 14th though in defensive EPA. So not quite as good on the defensive side of the ball. We know the run defense has been an issue for them. Kansas City, offensively, 3rd in EPA. So they have a better offensive EPA than the Bills. And that was missing Rashee Rice for the first 6 weeks. And then defensively, people have been questioning this Chiefs defense a lot this season, and it has been worse. But they are 7th in defensive EPA. So this looks like another team like the Lions that is probably top 2, top 3 best teams in the NFL just based off of EPA. So in this game, honestly, I feel like there's not a whole lot to break down besides what's different about these teams based on last year. I think the Bills are another year staler on offense. It does look good again, but this is just like you said it last time. Every single season with the Bills, they just get hot at one point. They are leading in regular season games versus the Chiefs. I believe they're 2-1 versus the Chiefs in the regular season, even though it doesn't matter at all, except for potential seeding purposes, because in the playoffs, they lose every single time. And I think that matters. But this is the regular season. And, like I said, I feel like the Bills are just a little stale. I get they look good off the bye, but that was the Panthers. You're going from one of the worst teams to versing potentially the best in the NFL. So I think that's something to monitor for the Bills. And then the Chiefs. The way they look different from last year, I think their defense is a little bit worse, a little staler, as I've been kind of using that word. I'll use it again. But offensively, they look like a brand new football team. I mean, the way they got Rashee Rice going right now, it's almost like an advantage that he wasn't playing the first 6 weeks because you just burn the tape on the first month and a half of the Chiefs season trying to figure out how to beat them. And they got Rice. Pacheco's injured, but they do have Hunt and Brashard Smith, who looks like a receiving back. That they could use as a nice weapon. And they just got a better collection of wide receivers, I'd say. You know, you got Hollywood Brown, fully healthy, Juju, and then you also have Worthy as the primary deep threat on the outside. And then Tyquan Thornton. It's like you're 5 deep with, like, decent wide receivers. It's not like you're rushing Sky Moore out there. I just think this Chiefs team is just, like I said, they're my second best team, and I think that's going to hold up here. I had the Bills higher than them last year, I think, before they played, and then the Bills ended up winning. This time, I'm going the other way. I think the Chiefs are going to win 26-25, so that is actually the under 52.5. And that's Bills plus 1.5. So I'm hedging. Sorry. But that's my take. I think the Chiefs win. That's where my money is.
I fully agree, and that's what I was gonna go with because the game is in Buffalo, and of course our biggest thing was always like, oh, the Bills
Oh, it's
always
in
play
Kansas City, I think. I could be wrong. Let me double check.
No, I think it's in Buffalo. I'm 90%. 90% sure.
Unless my template messed up.
Here you go.
Well, it's nice when I can't find it on the on this. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, look at that. It's at Buffalo.
So we're at Buffalo. The thing is, back in the day, we used to always just like, oh my God, the Bills always played the Chiefs in Arrowhead and yada yada yada. But it's like the Chiefs went to Buffalo and still were able to win. And I feel like
Clearly
what the
that
Chiefs
has
are
not
looking for.
mattered.
It has not mattered at all. And my thing is, I also feel like Mahomes is looking for a statement game. Yeah, he could dominate the Raiders and his own division, but he's been doing that for years. And one of those things is to show like, yo, we are that team, is to tie up the series in the regular season. And I think the Chiefs are going to want to come out and, mind you, it's going to probably still be, of course, a high scoring game. Um, but I see this game going 27-20.
Okay, so you're taking Chiefs -1, and you're taking that would be under 52.5.
Under 52.5, so yeah.
All right, yeah, I think we both kind of agree. I think that this is the Chiefs' year. As weird as that sounds, last year their team kind of fell apart, and they couldn't really make the most of their opportunity versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I still think they would have lost. To be fully transparent, I'll give you guys your due. You were the best team by far last year, and that Chiefs team was too top heavy. So when they had one of those injuries, well, that's what happens. But yeah, I think this year the Chiefs just look like they're on a whole nother level of everybody else. They might even be in their own tier, maybe with the Lions. But yeah, so that's our thoughts on the Bills and the Chiefs game. Up next, we have the Bears, Chicago Bears at the Bengals, one of your favorite teams to talk about, Sir Daniel. And
Indeed.
in this game, it's going to be pretty wild. We got Joe Flacco's Bengals versus Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson's Bears. I mean, I'm just excited because there's just so much to talk about every week with this Bears team. And then the Bengals are just like fun to appreciate, obviously with Flacco, Chase, and T. Higgins. It's been a ton of fun. People are talking like their season's over. I think if they just go 500 until Burrow comes back, they got a good chance to make the playoffs. It's probably not going to happen, but why are you talking like your season is just over? I don't get it. Bears favored by -2.5 in this game. The over-under, 52.5. So, a projected high-scoring game where the Bears are projected to win by about a field goal. I think that makes sense, personally. And let me just introduce the EPA stats. 14th for the Bears offense, and then 16th for their defense. Pretty much about as average a team as you can get. The Bengals, 26th offensive EPA. It really doesn't seem like that, by the way. And then defensively, 32nd. Worst defense in the league. If this Bears team can't score 28 points on this Bengals defense, I'm going to be utterly shocked. Okay? And that should be how they win this game. Time of possession, running the ball. DeAndre Swift ruled out. That's okay. You have Kyle Monangai. Let's go Rutgers. This guy's going to be a workhorse this week. He's going to tote the rock and get 20-ish carries, maybe 3 to 4 receptions on the ground. And they're just going to use that as the foundation to do what they've always wanted to do and set up some play action shots to Romo Dunze, maybe to Luther Burden this time. Zacchaeus is going to be there in the slot. And, of course, they got DJ Moore as well. But I'm projecting this to be a close game nonetheless. Even though the Bears have every reason why they should win this game handedly, I'm going to take them to win 28-27. So once again, you guys are like, Scooter, what the hell are you doing? Why do you keep hedging? That's right, I'm hedging again. So give me Bengals +2.5, but give me the Bears to win and give me over 52.5. Dan, what are your thoughts on this game?
This game is going to be an absolute offensive glaze fest, personally. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying that is because you're going to have Odunze, Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, T. Higgins be absolute fantasy
Gods.
lovers, bro. They are going to absolutely save you this week in your leagues if you have any of these mother heifers, bro. Personally, from my opinion, it's also going to show me what Caleb really looks like, because so far from what I'm seeing, it's like the Bears defense has been getting scored on and the Bengals defense continues to get scored on. So it's like, this is really just showing who performs more. And is it going to be our favorite old head Joe Flacco, or is it going to be this new guy who's supposed to be your franchise guy
who's supposed to be the best ever, really, is what he's
supposed to
advertised
be
as.
That guy, like him. Is he going to be able to take this Ben Johnson offense to another victory, to be able to hopefully go to the playoffs? And also, on another note, Joe Burrow comes back this month.
Does he really? He comes back at the end of November?
Yeah, something like that. Sometime in November.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be coming back because it's supposed to be 3 months and he got hurt in August.
Or the first weeks of September.
Yeah, first weeks of September. My fault. Yeah. But yeah, he should be coming back in reality sometime this month. So it's like you have this 2 to 3 game stretch where it's like where can you ball out? And that's where I feel like the Bengals are going to try to squeeze one out because they just lost recently by a point to the Jets.
Right. They shouldn't have lost that game.
They shouldn't have lost that game. And I
They
think
would have
these are
been
one of those
four and
games.
four, and they would have been essentially right there for the division. I mean, they would have been
Exactly.
just pretty much a half game behind the Steelers because the Steelers are 4-3. They had their bye, so they would have been 4-4. You're right there. You got Burrow coming back. You might be the best team in this division with the way the Ravens were kind of, on Thursday night. But I
Mm-hmm.
still think it's probably gonna be the Ravens. But there's like I said, this, and it sounds like you're agreeing. This season's not over for the Bengals.
Not at all. And I think with Joe Flacco, probably definitely an amazing trade for them to
Yeah,
be able to get him
from a divisional opponent.
exactly from a divisional opponent to be flourishing the way he is on this offense, which should really show you what the Browns are doing. But we'll get to that topic later on.
Yeah.
Well, as far as this game, 35-30, and give me the Bengals.
Okay. So you're taking the Bengals. I don't hate it. I mean, I took them to cover the spread, so this is going to be one of those games where I have zero confidence. Not zero confidence. I do think the Bears are going to win, but I would be not surprised at all if the Bengals ended up winning. So that's my take for that game, and that's Dan's take. So let's move on. Jaguars, Raiders. This game is just going to be wild. I just know it. Jaguars, you would expect them to be favored by 10 or more with the way their defense has been playing, but they're only favored -3. Big reason for that is Brock Bowers is back. And we know this Raiders offense is completely different with Brock Bowers. The over-under is 44.5, so that's a little high, to be honest, from what I was kind of expecting. The Jaguars also put Travis Hunter on the IR, so they've kind of downgraded on offense where the Raiders have upgraded. So could be a reason why this is only a 3-point spread. The teams offensively in EPA for the Jaguars, they rank 21st, okay? And then defensively, they rank 9th. So that gives you a pretty good idea of who they've been. And it's been more the same with this Jaguars offense. It was the same thing last year or the past 2 seasons where they're Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 quarterback who's hurt by drops, catches out of bounds, and penalties and all things of that nature. Well, at what point do you just look at him and say, this is partially on you because you're throwing inaccurate balls here and there as well. That's obviously happening. You're making poor decisions, turning the ball over. I know it sounds like I'm setting up to criticize the Jaguars, but I haven't even listed off the Raiders' EPA. Offensively, the Raiders are 30th in EPA, pretty bad. Defensively, 26th. That is one of the worst combinations we have seen. Not to be a hater. I don't hate the Raiders, but anyway, in this game I was describing how, Jaguars are going to be hurting a little bit without Travis Hunter. I think he's been a good player for them on offense at least. And the Raiders might have help from Bowers coming back, but I just don't see it. I mean, Jaguars have really great defensive personnel. I think they could probably contain Bowers. And there's not really anything else going on when it comes to, this Raiders offensive line. They could give it a shot with Genty. I don't think it's going to work. So I'm going to take the Jags to win 21-17. Dan, Jaguars, Raiders, what are your thoughts?
T-Law needs to ball out. Brian Thomas Jr. needs to stop and figure out, who he really was last year because this is personally his production game. Now that Travis Hunter is out,
Right.
he's back to being the one, the guy. And as far as the Raiders, I don't know if it's just a purposeful tank this year, having Genty now. And I've heard a bunch of trade rumors for Jacoby Myers. And if it's one of those things where
And Max Crosby.
And I guess that my question is Geno Smith not the guy, or is it just him not having the weapons that he needs to be able to flourish? Because he's got his coach back, but you can't really take a team who was nothing last year and make them something within 1 year. So I don't really blame the Raiders for right now. But as far as the score goes, I'm going 24-17. I think it's going to be a decisive game, decisive touchdown. But I think T-Law's still going to have either miscues or he's going to have some form of error throughout his game. And everybody's going to make mistakes. But I think the one game where the coach was talking to him and he like waved them off and brushed them off really kind of shows the dynamic that he has with his coach,
He's just a
and that
weird guy to think about, T-Law. It's really hard to understand who he is and what his
you know
issue
what I'm
is.
saying? 100%, because like he looks like a team player, but like seeing that makes me think to myself like, what's behind the camera? What's he like
Yeah.
in the practices as a person, all that stuff in between. So I just something just feels off with that, and that's why I say it's gonna be a decisive win, but not the way that it should be.
All right, so you said 24-17
17. Mm-hmm.
Jaguars. Yeah, not the most exciting game, but hey, maybe Bowers being back can actually galvanize this Raiders offense. I mean, their offensive line stinks, and you can't
Yep.
do nothing without having that. So maybe not, but hey, there's always a chance. All right, moving on to our last game of the week. And this one will feature the worst combination of offensive and defensive EPA. We have the Chargers at the Titans. The Chargers are -9.5 favorites. The over/under is 43.5. I don't know who's got dirt on who on the Los Angeles Chargers coaching staff. And maybe they're planning to throw this game because how is this only a 9.5 point favorite? Listen to these EPA stats for the Titans. Offensively, Dan, what do you think the Titans are?
Offensively,
Yeah,
31st.
they're 32nd.
Damn. I don't want to
Defensively,
go defensively. 31st.
29th.
Okay.
That's still terrible. At least every team
That is-
has like one strength, whether it's offense or defense, is like at least 20th or
No,
something.
it's, yeah. They
And
just
I
have
feel
nothing.
I feel so bad for Titans fans, and I feel even worse for Cam Ward. Imagine getting drafted to this team and anyone daring to criticize you, and choose it as something to fairly evaluate, who you are and what type of player you're going to be in the future. I mean, like I said, shame on anyone who chooses to criticize Cam Ward for clicks based on the situation he's in. But
Mm-hmm.
nonetheless, Chargers are 12th in offensive EPA and 17th in defensive EPA. They've suffered some injuries on both sides, but it looks like they're healthier now, and they looked amazing versus the Vikings on Thursday night. They've got a long week to prepare for this Titans team. Now, sometimes that lulls teams to sleep, but I don't think with Jim Harbaugh they're going to sleep anytime soon. So I see this. I mean, honestly, my score projection, it could be way worse. I think this is one of those games where you want to take the alternate spread because it's really good value since the starting point is -9.5. This should be a 3-score victory for the Chargers. So it should at least be 16.5. I would say if you want to take a bet. But honestly, if you want to do 20.5, or if you want to do 19.5, or if you even want to do 23.5, if you want to take 27.5, I don't care, because they should be able to do that. We saw this last year with the Lions playing teams. It was more predictable with them, but I don't think we had a team as bad as this Titans team last year. I'm going to bet on the alternate spread against this Titans team every single week until they figure out how to win a football game. Because you're like, oh, well, they got some pieces. Well, those pieces are hurt. Calvin Ridley is out. Jeffrey Simmons is out. They have nothing. There's nothing that can help them win this game. It's going to have to be some undrafted free agents making career names for themselves, or Cam Ward turning into, the reincarnation of Patrick Mahomes, and still his wide receivers would drop the ball. So I'm taking the Chargers to win this game 30-17. Dan, what are your thoughts? Oh yeah, and that's -9.5, and that is under. No, that's over 43.5.
So for me, it's kind of interesting because Ridley's out. They just traded away Tyler Lockett, or they released him, and now he's on the Raiders. And these are just one of those games that Pollard, Spears, I can't even say that dude's name right. Anya Moore, what's his name?
Oh, Alec Io Manor.
Io Manor. Io Manor, I think is that they always try to say something
You're
like
trying
that.
to say
Like,
Illuminor.
yeah, Illuminor, yeah.
You know I try with the pronunciation.
Really,
I try to
actually,
figure it
yeah.
out. Yeah. Io Manor had me caught up for a minute.
No,
And
yeah,
his first name is Elic.
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 Okay.
What a name.
What a name, bro. Yo, shout out to the parents for making that name. But
Yeah.
overall, yo, Herbert, if you have him in your fantasy, you should be expecting 40 points. If any Chargers player, you should be expecting top tier numbers to the third quarter, and then they just sit them. Like, And if I'm the Chargers, these are one of those games where you have the possibility that if you tie up with anybody in your division, that point differential,
Yeah.
this is the game that they're gonna look for
Score
to
50.
look at that point differential. It should be by a million.
Yeah.
So over if this is a close game, I'm gonna call it in the next video that we have that the Chargers are frauds.
So what should
Like,
be the bigger blowout? Packers Panthers or Chargers Titans?
oh, Chargers Titans by a
Yeah,
mile.
the Panthers they're an okay like football team when Bryce Young's out there. The Titans have nothing, so I agree. This should be the biggest blowout this week. Even though I didn't project that, what did I project the Packers game at? I said 31-14 for the Packers. Oh yeah, well I think the Packers are better than the Chargers, so I think it is going to be a bigger blowout. Yeah, what do you think about that? I'm rolling with my take, I guess. All right, I'm justifying on the spot, which you know I love to do so much.
Yes,
All right,
yes, you do.
that was the last game of Week 9. This was a fun show. Like I said, the teams on bye were the Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Bucks, so they don't have games this week. I am currently 74-45, including this week's Thursday Night Football game, picking games this week. And I want to thank Danny for joining us today. And Joey, unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here. Don't you worry, guys. That was usually going to be at least one of us doing these podcasts, if not two, and then all three. Best of all, it seems like Sunday we've done a pretty good job of being able to show up for those. So Sundays at 8 p.m. we recap instant reaction for that week. Tuesdays we do the top 10s. I know what the stream overlay says right now. Don't pay attention to it. It doesn't matter. Not right now. We're going to get that changed, so don't you worry about that. And then also we're planning to pick all the games either Friday or Thursday night or Saturday night or Saturday morning. We're picking a day for that. So if you did enjoy the show, drop a like so that it gets exposed to more people just like yourself who want to see content like this. Thank you for watching the stream actively and participating in that. That's always fun. And subscribe if you want to see more and get the notifications for the podcast. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone and drop a like if you haven't already. Dan, you got anything to close it out for us?
I appreciate everybody for showing up, showing out to the podcast, man. You know what I'm saying? We love doing this stuff. We love giving you guys the info. We love giving you guys the takes. You know what I'm saying? So keep showing up, keep showing out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, like Scooter was just saying. Bro, we catch you in the next one.
See you in the next